There was a big decision today in a police corruption case first exposed by the 7 Action News investigators.
A state police lieutenant and 2 others will stand trial for allegedly stealing property seized in drug raids.
A 7 Action News investigator, Scott Lewis, was in the courtroom, and Scott, it was a sweep for the prosecution, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it sure was, Stephen. The judge in Monroe ordered the 3 men, 2 cops and a civilian, to stand trial on all 34 counts, all felonies. But the judge indicated it might not be as smooth sailing for the prosecution when this case goes to trial. I just wanted to talk to you about the investigation the state police are doing. It was back in December of 2010 when the 7 Action News investigators laid out the tales of the alleged scheme involving Luke Davis. I just wanted to talk to you about it and try to get your side of it.
I'm not guilty of anything, bro. No.
At the time, Davis ran a drug task force in Monroe known as Omni. He'd been suspended and under investigation for 2 years, but still drawing a full paycheck. 2 months later, the hammer dropped. Luke Davis, Sergeant Emmanuel Riapel, and a civilian, Lawrence Dussault, were charged with turning the police drug forfeiture unit into a criminal enterprise. They allegedly stole property seized in drug raids, kept some of it for themselves, and sold some for cash. Everything from cars and boats to designer purses and big screen TVs. Today, after days of testimony, Judge Terrence Bronson bound them over for trial on all 34 counts. The judge noted that the burden of proof at this stage of the game is very low, but it gets much higher at trial. Then the prosecutor has to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The judge said in his opinion, the prosecutor might have trouble doing that on some of these counts.
Because then credibility of witnesses is significant. Juries consider that and can completely disregard someone they think is lying.
I don't think any of the witnesses were believable after they said their name. They're going to have a real problem at trial, absolutely. We're going to go hard and present a vigorous defense.
Luke Davis's ex-wife Melanie provided critical information to police during their investigation and testified for the prosecution. She says the case has dragged on far too long.
I cling to the hope that justice will finally be served. There's a lot of people that have been affected by Luke and the things that he's done.
Prosecutors say some of the people who had their property seized were never even charged with crimes. And they say property that should have been auctioned off to raise money for police services wound up being skimmed. The case now goes to Circuit Court July 24th, when a trial date will likely be set. Luke Davis and Emmanuel Riapel are both suspended now without pay. Scott Lewis, 7 Action News.